Welcome back to the Better Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Meckling, and thanks for tuning in today. If this is your first time listening in, welcome. Now, I do recommend that you start from the first episode and listen to each one in order because the topic of conversation will flow from episode to episode. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I do want to remind you guys that I do not have any medical education and that everything I discuss is from information I've received from various psychiatrists and psychologists, as well as mental health books I've read and various research on the internet. Now, let's dive right in. Today's episode is all about self-compassion, self-kindness, and self-judgment. Now, what exactly is self-compassion? Well, self-compassion is an attitude that involves a certain set of feelings, thoughts, motives, desires, urges, and behaviors that can be directed toward any living thing. Self-compassion can activate our soothe system, which calms our threat system. Learning self-love is a very difficult task, as simple as it may sound, but reminding yourself of things you're grateful for, journaling about what you love about yourself, allowing others to love you, and discussing these things with your inner circle are a few good ways to start practicing self-compassion and self-kindness. Practice self-compassion daily to better familiarize yourself to it. Think of taking care of yourself the way you would take care of a small child, gently and patient. When it comes to core beliefs, the thoughts we have in any given situation are influenced by our core beliefs. These are the beliefs that we hold at the center of who we are that describe the basic nature of the world, and this influences our self-compassion. When we treat ourselves with self-compassion, we create space to normalize and process pain, allowing us to better be able to learn from our pain and move past it. Otherwise, over time, a lack of self-compassion will increase our chances of experiencing depression, stress, or even burnout. When we speak to ourselves unkindly with judgmental and criticizing self-talk, we trigger our sympathetic nervous system, causing our bodies to react by releasing our cortisol stress hormone. Now, I know we all have a self-critic, which is used for self-protection because our brains tend to remember criticisms and negative comments as an act of self-protection. So instead of speaking to yourself as your inner critic, speak to yourself as your inner coach, encouraging yourself to practice self-compassion. Now, I know that was quite a bit of information, but hopefully you guys found it helpful and educational. Today, I'm going to leave you with the fractal effect. Fractals are simple patterns that repeat over and over again. You can find them in plants, flowers, trees, clouds, snowflakes, pine cones, and shells. Let your attention rest on a fractal for at least 10 seconds, taking in the details, colors, textures, movements, and patterns. If it feels safe, allow yourself to get lost in the image. This will lower your stress levels, which are your cortisol hormone. And don't forget, you can always call 988, which is the National Suicide and Crisis Prevention Hotline, if you're ever having a mental health situation and need to speak to someone immediately. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you found it helpful and educational and enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget to listen in to the next episode on every other Thursday, as well as my music that I've released on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. My music is listed under the name Ash, A-S-H, which is in all capital letters with an exclamation point. Also, feel free to give this podcast a follow on Instagram, Facebook, or Threads at Better Yourself Podcast. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you guys later.